Welcome to the Sleepy Underworld, a place where romance blooms, magic sparkles, and timeless fairy tales are reimagined for the dreamers of today. From heart-stirring romances to spellbinding adventures, every story is a soothing escape into a realm of love, wonder, and charm. So curl up, press play, and let us carry you away to the land of dreams. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. We'd love to know in what part of the world you are watching and what is your favorite tip for a good night's sleep. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. Raindrops kissed the worn cobblestones of Dublin's ancient streets, releasing the earthy perfume of wet stone that mingled with the yeasty aroma of fresh-baked soda bread wafting from nearby bakeries. I pulled my wool coat tighter against the March chill, the heavy parchment of another rejection letter weighing down my pocket like a stone. The evening streets hummed with St. Patrick's Day revelry. Tin whistles and bodhran drums echoed from pub doorways, while strings of green fairy lights twinkled against the deepening twilight sky. The celebrations felt distant to me, as though I watched the world through a rain-streaked window, separate from the joy around me. At 23, my carefully plotted life map had crumbled. Graduate with honors in business administration, secure a position at one of Dublin's top firms, make my parents proud. These goals had been my North Star since childhood. My mother and father had poured their savings into my education, working double shifts at their small grocery store to give me opportunities they never had. Now, 6 months of rejection letters mocked my dreams. The drizzle softened to a gossamer mist as my feet carried me away from the main thoroughfare. The sounds of celebration faded, replaced by the gentle tap of water dropping from the eaves and the whisper of my footsteps against the stone. A sound came that stopped me mid-stride, music unlike anything I'd ever heard. The melody floated on the evening air, a tune that spoke of ancient hills draped in the morning fog, of fairy rings hidden in moonlit forests, of dreams lost and found again. It pulled at something deep within my chest, calling to a part of my soul I hadn't known existed. Following the ethereal sound, I found myself in a narrow alley I could have sworn hadn't been there moments before. Gaslight from an old iron lamp cast a golden sphere in the mist, illuminating an elderly man in an emerald green cap. His gnarled hands moved across a fiddle with otherworldly grace, creating music that made my heart ache with its beauty. The old man's eyes, when they met mine, held the deep green of Irish valleys and something more, a glimmer of ancient wisdom that seemed to pierce straight into my troubled soul. "Music finds those who need it most," he said, lowering his fiddle. His voice carried the warm, rich timbre of well-aged whiskey, with an accent that spoke of Ireland's oldest hills. "I've never heard anything like it," I breathed, drawn closer by an invisible thread. The scent of heather and peat smoke clung to the old man, though no fire burned nearby. "You're carrying quite a weight these days," the elderly man observed, nodding toward the letter in my pocket. His fingers, though twisted with age, moved across the fiddle strings with impossible dexterity. I touched the rejection letter, its edges soft from repeated handling. "That obvious, is it?" To eyes that have seen centuries turn, clear as moonlight on water, the fiddler set his instrument down with tender care, reaching into a vest that seemed woven from shamrock green shadows. "You remind me of myself long ago. So certain of the proper path, never dreaming that life's greatest treasures often hide down wandering roads." From his pocket, he drew a coin that captured and held the lamplight like a piece of fallen sun. Larger than any coin I had seen, its surface bore intricate Celtic knots that seemed to shift and flow like living things. The metal felt warm against my palm when the old man pressed it into my hand. "Here's what we'll do, young Declan," the fiddler said, his eyes twinkling like stars reflected in a wishing well. "Flip this coin. Heads, you follow your planned path. Tails, you open your heart to new dreams." As I prepared to flip the coin, The old man added softly, "But remember, sometimes the bravest choice is refusing to let chance decide your fate." The coin spun through the misty air, catching the gaslight like a miniature sun. When it landed, it did something impossible. It balanced perfectly on its edge, neither heads nor tails showing. The metal hummed against the cobblestones with a musical note that harmonized with the lingering echo of the fiddle. The old man's laughter rippled through the alley like bells on a spring morning. "Well now, isn't that telling? Perhaps the universe herself has opinions about your future." My eyes widened. "How did you know my—" But the space where the fiddler had stood was empty, filled only with swirling mist and the fading notes of impossible music. The coin had vanished too, though its warmth lingered in my palm. That night, I dreamed of music that shaped wood into living things, of hands that created beauty from raw possibility. I woke with memories of my grandmother's workshop, where I'd spent countless childhood hours learning to craft simple toys and treasures. The scent of sawdust and lemon oil had been my first perfume, the grain of wood my first language. The next morning, something pulled me toward Blackbird Lane, where a furniture workshop had caught my eye many times before. Through the window, I watched artisans transform raw lumber into pieces that would become family heirlooms. The door chimes tinkled as I entered, filling my nose with the familiar embrace of fresh-cut oak and pine. The workshop's owner, Maeve, looked up from her workbench. Her copper-red curls were swept back with a bandana, and her eyes held the deep brown of polished walnut. Sawdust dotted her cheeks as she assessed me with quiet intensity. When I explained my situation and asked about apprenticeships, Maeve's expression remained carefully neutral. "Show me what your hands remember," she challenged, leading me to a workbench scattered with tools that felt like old friends in my grip. Hours melted away as I lost myself in the meditation of woodworking. My hands recalled skills I thought I'd forgotten, dancing across grain and shape until a small jewelry box emerged, its surfaces smooth as silk, its joints fitting together like poetry. When I finished, Maeve studied my work with the critical eye of a master artisan, before her face softened into approval. "Your hands speak the language of wood," she said simply. "I've been looking for an apprentice who understands that furniture isn't just functional, it's art that lives in people's homes, witnessing their stories." The seasons turned like pages in a well-loved book as I discovered my true calling. Under Maeve's mentorship, I learned to create pieces that balanced beauty with purpose. My parents, after their initial surprise, recognized the light that now burned in their son's eyes, the same passion they felt for their own work, serving their community through the grocery store. Maeve proved to be more than a teacher. Her creativity challenged me to push boundaries I didn't know existed. We worked in comfortable synchronicity, our conversations flowing like water over stones, each day revealing new facets of our growing connection. Love bloomed between us, as gradually and naturally as a tree taking root, nurtured by shared passion and understanding. One autumn evening, as golden light slanted through the workshop's dusty windows, Maeve discovered a small box on her bench. Unlike my first creation, this one told a story in its design, Celtic knots flowing into the grain of the wood, as if they had grown there naturally. Inside, cushioned on velvet the color of moss, lay a ring I had crafted through countless secret hours. The band combined silver and ancient bog oak, twining together like two lives becoming one. "I thought I knew my path," I said softly, taking her hand. "But sometimes the greatest gifts come when we dare to wander." Maeve's eyes shimmered like sunlight through honey as she squeezed my hand, our future stretching before us like a road of infinite possibility. Years passed, and our workshop became known throughout Ireland for pieces that seemed to hold a touch of magic in their making. Our home above the shop was filled with the sound of children's laughter and the steady rhythm of creation below. Every piece we crafted carried a small maker's mark, a coin balanced on its edge, a tribute to the night that changed everything. Each St. Patrick's Day, I tell our children about the mysterious fiddler and the magical coin. "But where did the coin go, Da?" they ask, their eyes wide with wonder. I smile, remembering the warmth that had lingered in my palm that misty evening. Back to its owner, I expect, a certain leprechaun who wanders the world, helping lost souls find their way home. On quiet evenings, when the workshop lies silent and Dublin's streets are painted in twilight watercolors, I sometimes catch the distant strain of fiddle music drifting through the mist. In those moments, I hold Maeve close, grateful for the courage to follow an unexpected path that led me not to the future I'd planned, but to the one that had been waiting for me all along. For in the end, the truest magic wasn't in the coin, or even the mysterious fiddler. It was in learning to trust the wisdom of my heart. Sometimes life's most precious gifts arrive disguised as detours, leading us not to the destination we imagined, but to the one where our souls can finally dance to their own perfect melody.